Yeah, I just realized didn't click the recording
Thanks, Shay.
button. But
Thank you.
D in the chat had said he doesn't really have a question. He was just kind of looking to learn how others trade, still new and struggling to connect the dots. He feel or they feel analysis paralysis state and also feeling overwhelmed by the more information I know. Yeah. Um, there's so much you what you don't want to hear is that you can literally make money anyway in trading.
Right.
Uh, certain concepts, I won't name names, will claim that it's their way or the highway. This is the only way to make money, but people have been making money on 4 hours just using a moving average for like the test of time. It's just whatever like Ashley had said, whatever appeals to you personally and visually, like use that. And you could be using like a concept of SMC, ICT, or price action in like a specific aspect. Maybe you like zones, or maybe you like trend lines, maybe you like fair value gaps. Just because you like something in ICT doesn't mean you have to use the entire concept
So
of
much for
it.
not naming names. Yeah, way to drop a name. It's funny.
Irrelevant. Anyway,
We love ICT here. And honestly, there's a lot of people who do well with ICT, so don't take that as
the
any
point
sort
is,
of way.
I feel
Jay's
like
point is
a lot
that
of
there's a lot of
people,
ways to
well,
to
no,
you know,
yeah,
no right or
that
wrong answer. It's what clicks for you. So you'll even see in the testimonials, there's tons of different styles. Even through our staff here, tons of different styles of trading. Like the key is to find what style resonates best with you and like working that style. Don't just be like, oh man, I idolize Ken. I can't wait to like trade like Ken, like or whoever, or Artie. I know a lot of people come because of Artie and they're like they want to learn to do exactly what he does, but it's like what might work for one person doesn't necessarily work for someone else. So that's why we have so many different people here who do trade different styles and different sessions, different markets, even like just to show that there's potential to trade any any of these things. And finding that person that kind of you can visualize what they're doing on their charts, that's always super helpful. But yeah, you will definitely get information overload for sure,
yeah.
and that happens in this world. And I would say learn as much as you can. Don't ever feel bad for learning. You're always going to continue learning in this market, in this world of trading, but also be able to filter out what you don't need. And that's huge because I've learned so many different things, but I don't apply all of them. My charts would look insane if I did that. Like, but they don't. I stuck with the one thing and I really worked and mastered the one thing that like resonated with me. It doesn't mean I don't understand other people's concepts or give them the time of day to like at least learn them. And maybe I'll take pieces from them here and there and start to apply them, but it doesn't mean you have to just like learn every single concept ever taught and throw it all at a chart because it'll be like a smorgasbord. Like
Yeah,
it'll look crazy.
that was my
Yeah.
main
So
thing.
don't feel bad feeling like overwhelmed by it. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. And as you keep with it, you'll start to learn how to filter out like what is key information for you personally. And then you can kind of like just file the rest away for like, okay, cool, I've learned it, but it's not for me kind of thing. And then keep with the stuff that you do find that is like clicking for you.
And I want to touch back on something that Christy mentioned. She mentioned one thing that was working for her or that made sense to her. And I think it's really good to make a list of the things like you've learned and kind of like put a star next to the ones that you have resonated the most so you can get a picture of it. And then dial it back to one thing and work with that one thing until you're super, super comfortable with it. And then when you choose something more to layer onto it, have it have a very specific purpose, something that that other thing didn't do for you, if that makes sense. And I think you'll find that when you take it back to the most simplest state, it's a lot less overwhelming at that point.
Then you have like something to compare to when you're testing. Because
Yep.
if you have like 17 things that you're trying to apply, you it'll take a while for you to realize what's that one or two things that are like holding everything together. But if you start with one or two things, it'll take a long time to backtest because if it's as simple as can be and as broad, usually you'll have a lot of trades. But then you can go back, already marked trades, and be like, okay, what if I add this to it? Like, will this filter out more losses or does it take out more wins? And you go from there. So yeah, I can understand. Instead of trying to learn like 20 different things, like learn something and then start trying to apply it in like a testing format and see like, can I even trade this way? Because I think that's another thing people don't realize too, is they learn something and they make a strategy about it and then they test it and then they realize in live trading, like whether demo or live with money, it's like I can't even do all of this and place the entry like at the right time. It's like that's one thing that people don't factor in as well. Make it easy on yourself.
AD, do you trade the New York session with E EU?
With EU, you could probably do London or New York,
Yeah.
but New
Right.
York would probably
Yep.
be a little bit better, but yeah. Um, that would just be, I think that's probably what Ken's getting to, it would be like to focus probably on the sessions where that's moving. But I think, I wanna just say kudos to you for only having one pair. I think that's actually
Yep.
huge and shows you actually have a really good amount of like self-discipline here already to just say, hey, let me just focus on one pair, like Roxy was kind of saying, like focus on one thing, one pair, like try to maybe even focus on one session if you can, just kind of try to whittle away at all the extra because there's so much you could trade like 24/7 in these markets now with crypto. Like that's so overwhelming to anybody who's coming in and way too tempting to start over trading and like learning bad habits. So kudos to you for only having one pair here. I think that's
Definitely.
huge. But sorry, Ken, you can say whatever you're gonna say.
No,
And
no,
if anybody
I
else has
agree.
questions too, feel free to type them in, or if you want to be unmuted, it's a small group right now. So if you guys want to be unmuted so you can talk, let us know.
What do you mean by you tried them? Is it like you just took a strategy and you demo traded, or you took a strategy and you back tested it and then you started trying to trade it? Like before I even think about trading something, I do pretty extensive testing because I don't want to waste my time watching a live market and then have no idea on what could possibly be the biggest losing winning streaks. What can I expect to see? Uh, Pickle is asking to unmute, so
Hi, Pickle.
Hello, everyone.
I
I
enjoy
mean,
your
Pickle.
name,
Sorry,
Pickle
I just
Puffer.
tossed in a random username of a funny word. It's already
Oh,
everyone.
Oh,
jeez.
I know. I was like, wait, I
yeah, I
enjoy
was like
this
that
name a little
definitely
bit too
sounds
much.
like
Hi.
already.
You can't
Oh.
mistake the voice.
Yeah.
At first I was like, what?
Um,
Pickle Puffer, Artie?
Pickle
Okay.
Puffer.
Welcome, Artie.
okay,
It's a small group
I
today,
I
Artie.
want
So
to address this picking a specific pair to trade, and I know Jay made a really fucking good short about
language.
which pair to trade, and like through extensive testing, he
Oh, that
realized that
ranking
it's
thing?
this pair. Yeah. And that was really good, and I understand it. I am not an analytical person like to that level. So for me, that was a smidge too much work. I remember when I started, I just had every major Forex pair, every indice in my watch list, and I would just like click through each one of them on the 5 minute chart, looking for my specific trade setup at my specific trading window. And that's when I was like over trading and being absolutely retarded and entering 4 different trades on 4 different pairs, and then I would get confused, and then I'd think that I entered in on odd CAD, but it was actually GBP USD, and I was like, oh no, I wanted to go short, and it was just a cluster. I genuinely think it does not matter what pair you pick. It's just picking one that moves during your session. So if you're only trading Tokyo session, then just pick like JPY pairs or Australian dollar pairs or New Zealand dollar pairs. Those are going to move pretty decently in that time frame because that's when they're awake. That's their session. I Dude, if I find a chart and I draw a trend line on it and there's 7 touches on it, that's a consistent good price action pair, and I've married it. So for me recently, I've completely 100% transitioned to DAX. Every single one of my trades is on DAX. It took a while to get used to because it's euro based, not USD based. So like the take profits and the stop losses are a little bit wonky, but if you use a risk calculator, it's completely fine. And it actually stops trading. Like you can't trade depending on what kind of account you have after 10 p.m. my time in Europe. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but if you're just looking for something to trade, look at what moves during the window of time that you're allowed to trade in or that you have time to trade in that's outside of your work, outside of your family responsibilities, and just like find something with good trend lines and good price action. That's going to be a nice base recipe for your trading career. And over time, the more you look at it, the more you stare at it, the more you realize that, okay, at 17,500, over the long term on the daily chart, we've rejected 15 times. So I know that this is a price area that I'm interested in either going long or short. If it's a continuation and it's hitting support constantly. So you'll get to know the pair that you trade. It's just a matter of how much you practice on it. Because I ride bikes all the time, really, really good at it. But if I got on a road bike, one of those skinny ones with the tiny thin tires and like clip-in shoe pedals, I would break my face in 20 minutes.
Oh, and
I
those
just don't
seats are
Wait,
terrible.
I thought you
Yeah.
participated in Tour de France before. That's
No,
news to me.
I like my my eggies where they are.
But
So hopefully that helped anybody.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just analytically driven. I don't like assuming things, and so like
That's all
I'm
we
not
do is
picking
assume things, Jay.
I'm not
We're
picking on
we're
you,
basing
D.
future price action off past results.
Yes,
So
but at
I'm in
least we
between
have
both of you
something
here,
to
but like
base off.
Jay, but like I agree, Jay, and I understand how you work, and I understand how I already work because I work with both of you. So what they're trying to say is like I agree with Artie in this sense of like pick the session that's going to work, that's going to be moving. Find the volume because you're like in this case, D, you're talking about trading that you're looking at potentially Asian session with an EU pair. And I kind of answered you in the chat and saying like it doesn't really make sense to do that because you're not going to have the volume that you need. The banks, the people who are trading it, the market itself for that area that you're trading, like Europe and USD, they're closed during that time. So you don't have anybody really helping them move that market, like the big guys. And you need that if you want to be able to trade a lot of, not a lot, but majority of the styles, unless you want to just kind of sit through. Now, there are cases where maybe you're like doing longer trades, like some sort of swing trading, or getting in on a Tokyo session wouldn't really matter. But majority of the time, most people who are day trading are looking to kind of get in and get out within like a day or so or less, maybe a couple of days in a trade. But most people want to see their trade at least kind of get secured before they like, go to bed or something like that for the day or done for the day. And I think that that's where a lot of people, at least that I deal with, I've noticed are at. So that is where you would see something like where you would want to, like Artie saying, you would want to try and find a pair that's going to move during that time that you're looking to trade. So in this case, Euro USD, you would want to be either in London or the New York session. What Jay's saying though also is before you even go diving into all that, make sure it makes sense even like to from a testing point of view. But in this case, if you know you're going to do Euro USD and like you're kind of thinking along the lines of Artie and I, where you're like, well, I want volume and I want to see the market at least moving. I don't want to be sitting in consolidation for hours, just because I got it on Tokyo session. Then in that case, like you already know you don't need to test Tokyo now. So like that kind of cuts a session
Yeah.
out, like what Jay's saying. So kind of in between
Don't
what they were
test
both
things
saying.
that you don't plan on
Right.
like trading. Like that.
You don't need to waste your time because like you already said earlier in this call, like it's overwhelming. So try to like get like that's what I'm saying, whittle away at things. Try to like remove things that can overwhelm you that are unnecessarily overwhelming you. So in this case, the Euro USD, it's kind of silly to kind of even work with it on Tokyo unless you truly are swing trading, in which case that's a different story. But if you're looking to more day trade it, then yeah, you're kind of overwhelming yourself by even looking at Asian session. It's unnecessary. You don't need to. I would kind of stick to more the London or New York. My last piece of advice that nobody really touched on is work with something during a session that works for you, where you live your lifestyle when you have free time. Don't force yourself into like a session or like working or like not working, but like trading during a time that like doesn't work for you long term because you want to look at this as like a career thing, and you want to be able to have like a system where you sit down every day at this time and this is your routine to get into the markets, not just like something that you're like, well, I guess I have to trade at this time, and say it's like 3 a.m. in the morning for you. Like that's not really practical long term to do that. So I would look for something that works for you and your where you're at when you have the free time to sit down and trade, and something that will be consistent. That's my last piece of advice there.
I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing Jay trading at 3 a.m. in the morning, so maybe that is practical.
I do not do that anymore.
No, he's done with that. He did.
I'm happily asleep.
Yeah. I mean, if you
Awesome.
have to, you have to. Like there was a time where I truly had to wake up at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, depending on whether we were daylight savings or not, because like I worked and I went to a job. So I had to trade London session, or Europe, but in slash London. And I had to do that for a little bit. And that like, but I knew in my head that wasn't sustainable. So like my goal was just to learn to get profitable so I could eventually switch to the New York session. But yeah, that
Kind of
could
weird to
happen
say.
that
That was
way. But
like
like
a couple
take what you
years
possibly.
back, and that was after I had gotten laid off. I'd always been a night owl. So I'm like, well, I'm kind of already up during London anyway, so. But then as I became like a normal person and less of a degen, and I had to wake up earlier, I was like, I just can't do London anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was just not
My
sustainable.
dad still does it. He goes to sleep at like 8 o'clock at night and wakes up at like 3 a.m. But
But your dad works like
yes,
and your dad's on your time zone, so
yeah,
your dad works in like a normal like 9 to 5 type of job, so he
yeah,
has to kind of be up a little earlier. So my dad's the same way. He used to do Tokyo, but he got frustrated sitting through consolidation all night long, so now he wakes up early for London to be
yeah.
able to trade London quickly, or at least get his trades in before he goes to work. So yeah, I mean, there's different ways, but this is just kind of like adapting to your availability and making it more of a sustainable system versus trying to force yourself into a session. Any other questions?
So
I
Did
don't
I
know. I
answer
just
the
want to comment real
situation?
quick. I
Okay.
just think it's so cool that your guys' parents are involved in it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my dad's a futures trader. He
Yeah,
dabbles
yeah,
with
yeah. You
Forex, but
mentioned
he's
that.
futures.
I think it's so cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, he thinks it's so cool that
my dad has never
I have
touched
to
a
go to
prop
futures
firm.
now.
He thinks it's like the devil.
Oh yeah,
I've
your dad's
tried.
on.
I've
Yeah.
tried to tell him, and then like this whole MetaTrader thing happened. He's like, "You see?" I'm like, "Oh, come on, man.
See, no, my
It's
dad's
okay."
opposite. He loves prop firms because I mean he has his like personal against too, but he loves prop firms. He's a prop firm sucker. Like he loves them. He's with Apex
My
right now, and he likes Apex a lot.
my dad is the world's best indicator for swing trading Bitcoin. If he calls me and asks to buy more, I
You should
know
get
that
out.
it's time to sell. And if he
Yeah.
calls me panicking that, we should sell everything, it's time to second
Yeah,
mortgage the house.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
that's
So he's
funny.
basically the general public indicator.
Dude, it's amazing. He just consumes 24-hour news all day. He just like sits in a bathrobe eating sandwiches and listening to 24-hour news. That's his spiel.
Yeah. So let's go back here. So Greta asked, I guess she's replying to Roxy, and she's saying, I know. And she said, did you learn from your parents or did you help your parents get into trading? So I guess I'll go. My dad trades futures, not Forex. It was different. So my dad sort of kind of like planted the seed for me to look into more like investment opportunities. Like he's really big, always been big into it. And like before I got into all this, I was always like, yeah, okay. But that's like what my 401k is for. Like they do that for me. Because like before this, I worked as a nurse and I never took a business class before. I didn't know anything like that. Like I always took sciences and stuff. So I never knew anything like investment or business wise. So my dad though is from the business world, so he knew it, which like, I would just usually just be like, can you help me pick what I'm supposed to invest in kind of thing, and just walked away. I never really cared. But then when the time came that I did start like looking into this more, he helped me a lot when it came to like stocks, I will say that. Um, and like in like longer term investing, that kind of stuff, he definitely was more like where he shines. Forex, he didn't really use. He knew about it, had dabbled with it, didn't like it. He's a futures trader, like I said. So like he kind of stuck with futures. He likes the regulated idea a lot. He's dabbled with the prop firms in Forex and he has done well with them. But now with all of this changing happening and more from the US, like he hasn't really been able to keep keep a firm for now. So he's kind of like back with just futures completely. So it kind of went both ways. I would say like I learned a lot from him when it came to like longer term investing in the stock market itself. Forex is something I fell into on my own and I just like went really deep into and I helped him a lot with the Forex stuff. And then just transitioning from futures to Forex, which isn't a huge difference for those of you who do trade futures or who went from Forex to futures. So for him, it wasn't a big learning curve. But yeah, we're just kind of different. Like, I don't know. I would say that like I do it. Oh God, I hope my dad doesn't ever listen to this because he's in here, but I'm probably a
Spill the
better
tea.
day trader than my dad. Oh, I love you, Dad. I'm better at it than him, but he's still really good. Like he's decent at it. Like he makes monthly, payouts and all that stuff, like with his firms, and he's done well at it. But I do think when he finally retires, which I wish he would just retire already, and he won't, but I wish he would, because he could definitely just live off his trading money at this point, but he like refuses to retire. I don't know why. But yeah, he definitely could just trade during the day and probably make even more because he would have the availability of New York session, which he doesn't have right now because he works during that time. That's my story about that. If anyone else has parents that taught them or are involved in it and want to talk about it, go for it.
My dad didn't really teach me trading. He's always been in it for a while. He recently, the past couple of years, got profitable and he's been doing really well, especially this year. He only trades personal accounts on Oanda, with shitty spreads, but I mean he's used to it and it works for him, so be it. But yeah, after I got laid off when I was working, he was like, Jay, I have a lot of engineering buddies that are like really good at trading. He's like, maybe it should be something you look into. And I was like, we'll see. But yeah, he didn't really, I mean, I don't remember him at all really teaching me. He didn't teach me a strategy or anything. He just said like risk management, like look that up, look this up, look that up. And then I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole myself. And now we just kind of like go back and forth, see how each person's doing, how much percentage they've been able to do, or like how the markets have been treating them. It's almost like a trading buddy
Yeah, same.
at that point.
It's cute. It's like fun.
I
Yeah,
feel like
definitely.
that's a recurring theme. Because I used to work with the engineer. Was in a shared workspace, and there was this dude that he designed like hospitals and bridges, and I showed him what I did, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool." Within a month, he was a profitable trader. I didn't teach him
Mhm.
anything,
Well, it's just
and I'm
like
just like,
it's kind of
"How?"
ingrained. It's kind of ingrained in me, and I don't think it's isolated at all. I guess we're always taught like you have to design. It's gonna sound kind of mean, actually. I'm gonna try and like word this better, but you have to design things because I help build oil field tools like for rigs. I don't know if people know what oil rigs are out, but that's where like you extract gold. That's where you extract oil from, like the Gulf of Mexico, for example, south of Louisiana in the US, but there's all kind of other places all around the country and world. But I help develop tools that they're called roughnecks, is like the people that like work on the rigs, and they're working 14, 16 hours of manual labor every single day. So like they're pretty much straight delusional. And so they're not really thinking. So you have to design to help, like safety wise, like think like what stupid thing could they potentially do, and like how can I make a fail safe for that? You have to like think what is the worst thing that could possibly happen with this tool, and is it still safe for them to use? And it's kind of the same thing in trading, where it's like what is the worst thing that could happen in this strategy, and how can I offset that? And that's
Yeah, Jay thinks like how to mitigate risk, which is
it's like
good. So
how
yeah,
can this
that's how he
strategy
thinks.
screw up? Or it's like if I get a strategy that works, it's like, okay, I will test it until it fails. And
Yeah,
if it can't fail, well then I might have something good.
yeah.
But
I was gonna say we have a decent amount of.
too many people have
Oh,
the
sorry.
opposite. No, it's just too many people have the opposite mentality. Is like they're just have too much optimism. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like you just get something and you're like so giddy and ready to go live. And it's like you don't even know what could possibly happen, but you're just hoping that the best happens. And like hope isn't always going to be like your best result.
So I'll chime
Yeah.
in. I don't
Yeah.
have parents that trade or anything like that at all, and I'm kind of thankful for that. But um, I do have my husband who's gotten into trading, and he's an engineer, and so it's very interesting to see his perspective and his approach to it. Being an engineer, because he is good, really good at risk management and being very methodical in what he's doing.
So question though, is he over analytical? So we have a lot of engineers here in our staff actually, which is, I mean, I won't call them all out, but we have a decent amount of them in our staff. And I find that engineers do great at trading. They love to test, which I
I was
love
too
because I
over
love testers.
analytical. He
Yeah,
is
you're
not.
one of them too. You're one of them too, though. Like
I,
you
I
kind of
am
fall in
one of
my
your
engineer.
engineers in the
You
staff,
kind of
but
fall in one of my
I
engineers.
fall
So
into that, and he is even more perfectionistic than I am. But
okay,
what he can balance that with is he doesn't overthink it. He says, okay,
interesting.
if this is what it is, and this is how it's essentially engineered to be, and he's seen the data and so forth, he's very
Oh,
methodical and he's
Yeah.
good to just sit and approach it and just do it that way. Whereas I will start to overthink things or I'll pull other things in that I know about. Whereas he's just very methodical, and it's
yeah,
really cool to see. It's
I
very
find that
neat.
fun. Yeah.
So
I love the engineers. They always crack me up, and I'm like, oh great, I've had testers. I love testers, but then sometimes I'm like, okay, time to apply. Time to apply, guys. Time to apply. And they're like, no, no, no. Let's test one more round. And you're like, no, no,
yeah.
no, no more testing. But yes, thank you for sharing. I do appreciate you sharing that. But yeah, it is cool to have parents or anybody, as like Roxy said, like a spouse is like I can't even imagine how fun that would be to have somebody in your every single day life to actually understand and doesn't think you're crazy. But yeah, it was nice to have a parent for sure, who understood it because I'll tell you, my mom did not was
Same.
not a huge fan of the idea, especially because you know, I was leaving a very steady career that I had and like a good income that I was making from my career with nursing. And still technically am a nurse and all that stuff, keep my licensing and everything always like as a plan B, but like to walk away from something like that, you know, and to do something that seems so like foreign to my mom was like, why would you do that? And like she couldn't understand or comprehend. She was just like, that, but your dad does it, that's like for fun, not to like he still goes to work, like you still have to go to work and you do that for fun on the side kind of thing. And like it was nice to have a parent who was like, no, like she's actually decent at this, she can do this. To have that one person in your life that like doesn't think you're insane, because many of you probably know what it's like to have someone who looks at you like you have five heads when you tell them that you want to be a day trader and they're like, oh god. And then especially once you want to start making changes in your life, like potentially like dropping hours or leaving a job or you know, trying to replace an income or something like that. Yeah, it's definitely can get, oh, you can get some looks for sure, some unsolicited advice from people.
You
But
will get looks for a while until you could show a payout, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I don't know how you got that, but like, okay, like that's real." And
yeah.
that's just
R-
kind of anything
Reggie,
that people can
oh
understand.
sorry. Yeah,
That's fine.
Reggie, if you want to talk, if you can talk, or if you just want to type, that's fine. If you want to talk, though, let us know. We'll unmute you. But I would love for you to actually talk about it since we're kind of already talking about having somebody in your life. But I know you're somebody who trades with your wife, and I know you wrote about it here in the chat, and I know you're both funded traders. So I would love to hear like how that's going for you, and what that's like in your house. Like, how is that working out for both of you? I don't know if you
It's
want to
constant
talk or
strategy
not.
wars in the
I
house.
know.
My wife once watched me trade, and I was just like waiting for price to just dump, and it just like stayed consolidating for 7 hours. And she just sat next to me and watched what I did. And she had so much anxiety. And I'm sitting there trying to be as stoic as possible. And she's like freaking out, like yelling at these candles to like go down. And I'm just like, damn, you would suck at this.
Yeah, I've done that once before. One time my sister was waiting on me and I was like, I have to wait for this trade to finish and we can leave. And then I was like trying to get ready and I was like, listen, when you see this number, hit this button. She was freaking out. Like she could not handle the pressure of like, she's like, but it keeps going up. And she's like, oh my God, it's so close, it's so close. And she kept making so many noises. And I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? Like, this is like, there's no news, there's nothing happening today. Just wait, like a couple more candles. And it was just like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do this. That's when I was like, okay, we're not gonna spend time teaching you because
I
you're not
mean,
handling
I
this
had
very well.
I had a little bit of anxiety today because the time that I've like been getting used to entering my trade is the 8:30 line. And then the there's a 103 point DAX candle. And I was like, oh, this is fucking horrifying. Because it's like, if I entered at close of candle, my stop loss is 100 and I'm looking for 200. I was like, no thanks. I'm gonna wait for a bit of a retracement. But it was just whipsawing. I was like, I'm not doing this. Not today. I grabbed my $100 and I dipped.
I saw, I didn't have a fantastic day either. I got to like I think it was like 1.3 R and I moved my stop loss to slightly in profit and it came back. But it was in a demo account. So I was like, whatever. Okay. I got my point for Strat Wars. But yeah, I was not wowed at all by the market today. So that's why I was like, I stayed off of my futures challenge account. I didn't see anything I loved enough to like risk the challenge account because I'm pretty close to like passing it. And I was in the same place as you today already. I saw your testimonial and then I ended up in the same boat as you, but just on
Yeah.
US 30.
Did you see my follow-up testimonial?
I don't know. I got your at everyone ping, and I was like, "What are you doing, RC?
Yeah,
Why are you at
that
everyone?"
that was that. Because you see it all the time. Like it happened to Ken yesterday, where like he thought, oh, it stopped, it broke even, and then one monstrous candle would have hit his take profit.
It's a
And that's what
Friday though,
happened.
so you got to watch out. Yeah, be careful. Yeah, Fridays
Reggie,
can be like that sometimes. But Reggie, go ahead. We are unmuted.
Hi. Hi
Hi.
everyone. Hello everyone.
what's up?
So my wife, she is using the Outback strategy, like the free
Oh no,
CMOV
you guys
and
are
all that stuff.
different
I'm
strategies.
having happy trails, yeah.
Oh,
And she is more a seller. So when she sells and she win that day, I have to wait for the price to reverse back up. So that's our thing.
It's like a seesaw.
Yeah.
so she takes a seller's bias when
Yeah.
so she uses Outback, but she's looking for sell opportunities.
Yeah, and she uses a different kind of strategy, like more like a super scalper than me, because she's in and out like in a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3
Wow.
trades and done for the day.
Okay.
She's aiming for like amount like 200, $300 a month, a day, and then she's done and she's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Now, does she trade futures
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah, futures as well. Top step.
Okay.
And top step.
And I have a question for you because I'm not with Top Step. When you do something like that for a few seconds, like your trades are so quick on like you're down to the second trades, are you allowed to do that with Top Step, or does she have to be careful with like the amount of time she holds a trade?
Oh yeah, I think we're allowed to, because you have a TP. TP will hit say for 10 points or 8 points or 12 points. It doesn't matter if it's 3 seconds or 2, as long as it hits the target and you're out of the position.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's
So
gotta be
our
fun.
shortest trade was like 3 seconds.
Wow.
What
Yeah,
the-
$700, 3 seconds. It's good. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a little
Yeah.
intense for
I like
me,
I
but
like
yeah,
futures.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Good for her. All right. Well,
Yeah, I
that's
like
so fun.
futures. Yeah, because of that ESL placement. You can like 10 points ESL or 7 points.
Yeah.
Then as
Now
soon
your
as it
trades run a
moves
little
towards your
longer
favor,
though.
you go break even. So you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, but yours do tend to run a little longer from what I've seen.
I do like if I trade in Asian, so I have to wait 5 minutes.
Right.
But mostly I only do 1 minute, like one candle. I'm done.
Wow.
Seconds, 58. My fastest is 3 seconds too.
All the free time you must have in your household. Like you log on to
Yeah,
trade for
we do
like one
household
1
chores
minute
after
and you're
that.
out. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, the good thing with having a wife beside you trading is you know the emotion, the tilt, the revenge trade, the FOMO. You don't have to
Mhm.
explain it to her anymore.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. That's what I imagine, like having somebody as a spouse, like that must be such a nice relief to have them start to understand a little bit about like what you're going through when you're trying to
It
learn
really
this.
helped. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have to,
Did you learn
pull each
together?
other out. Like, no, you have to come down after a loss, get back after like 15 minutes later, something like that.
Yeah. Did you guys learn together or did one of you start first and bring the
I
other
learned
one in?
first. And then I showed her. She's my partner in crime most of the
Oh,
times.
nice. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's awesome. All right, well, thank you for sharing that. I was curious because I
thanks.
know
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
guys,
good
we've
day.
talked about this for a while now that you guys both trade, so I was wondering how that has helped you guys. But that's awesome. Well, thank
Thanks. Yeah.
you. Does anybody else have any questions that they want to talk about this topic, another topic, and we can change topic and totally
Also
whatever.
congrats to Reggie so far this
Oh
season
yeah,
too, because
Reggie, huge.
you've
Reggie has
been
been killing it for
passing
Happy Trail.
a
Thank
lot
you.
of things.
Yes. Reggie and Ken, I don't know who, like, you guys might have like the
Duro,
most pass. Doro too. Doro is
and
not on here, but Doro's also been killing it for Happy
there's some
Trail.
other people as well. I'm sorry if I can't remember your name.
I'm just like, I'm sorry, these are my Happy Trail people, so I'm remembering these two just because they've like done so many like challenges that they passed, which is crazy. But thank you. Anyone else have questions though that wants to talk about something? Like totally change the topic. Whatever you guys want to talk about, this is your time to kind of come on and talk about things. You're going to talk about your week, how it went this week in Strategy Wars, how you're feeling about the finals, anything.
Jackies?
I don't really have anything to say about my week, I guess. My week's been kind of like,
I've been boring. I've been holding on to like a 2 4 hour trades just because that was the easiest way for me to just participate in strategy wars. Because a lot of people don't swing trade, so I'm trying to
yeah.
get that in the game. I know Carl with the C for Outback. He used to be an avid 1 minute guy, and he was lighting up the scoreboard for a lot of past seasons of strategy wars, and he just kind of needed to take a step back because he felt like he was over trading too much. And so he moved to the 15, moved to the 1 hour. Now I think he's just trading the 4 hour. He's just kind of vibing.
Which can be really nice sometimes. Honestly, I
Yeah.
would have done it as well, but I think I already talked about this maybe the first week or so when we were doing this. But it was just because I knew I was doing some future stuff too, that I was like trying to keep my mindset in the idea of like I can't hold overnight. So I've just been trying to like transition myself to that a little bit more. But I love a good swing trade, man. They can be nice if you can get it on like a nice like 1 hour, 4 hour time frame, and you can hold that thing all week, maybe even into the next like
It's hard to
really go.
transition
Nice.
to, I will say, if you like go on the route of 1 minute, kind of scalping 5 minute even, because like you're so used to checking it every like, well, some people just watch their trades constantly, which I don't know how people can do. I realize the anxiety in that. But like when you try and start trading on the 1 or 4 hour, I think that's like we always tell people to start on a higher time frame. Majority of people don't listen. That's fair. Like you got to figure it out on your own, sure. Um, but like the main reason why is that it kind of teaches you not to watch trades. You can't really watch a 1 hour, 4 hour trade constantly because you're accounting for a way larger move. And so it might take an hours, days, maybe week or weeks. And like that, it builds a good mentality of like not having to worry about every individual trade, watching it constantly. It's kind of flip-flopped. So it's harder for people from lower time frames going to higher time frames because they're so used to just watching that.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard for me even like mentally. That's why I said like I tried not to like intertwine the two during this month because I just knew it would be a difficult struggle for me to kind of like go from the higher time frames to lower ones. I have done it on occasion, but not usually during strategy wars or something where like there's like a competition of some sort. But yeah. But yeah, I totally
Some
can
of my
see
best
that.
trades are ones that I literally forgot I took.
I mean, I never forget about them. You never forget about them, but like I like the idea that of when I can come on and I can just like peek very quickly during like the morning, just check out where things are at, and then you're like, okay, still kind of chilling, and just you close your, trading view, close off whatever your terminal is you're using, and you're just like, okay, like let it keep going. So there's something nice about it, but to be fair to the people who like the shorter time frames, because I do too, the smaller ones, like, there's something about that instant gratification of knowing you secured some money for the day. I just say. But once I have a long trade running, like a swing trade running, and it's like moved into like some sort of like secured position, whether I'm break even or slightly in profit, that's by far my favorite. Cause then I'm just like, let it run, like it can rip for as long as it wants and I just let it go. 'Cause that's always nice. And you just kind of move it along with each of the levels that it breaks for me personally, but anyway, enough about Jay and I ranting about that. But yeah, you guys can swing trade in Strategy Wars too. Just a lot of people tend not to. And I know for the futures people, if you're doing prop firms, most of you guys are probably limited with the swing trading as well, just because the firms don't allow it. But any questions? Anybody want to talk about their week? What they did? Did they have a good week, a bad week? Kind of like a in-between week. I feel like this week was just kind of for me. Like I didn't really have a good or a bad week. I know I did post, like I finished up with my like live account that I was using because I met my monthly goal on there. So kind of just been like teetering back and forth the last few days with like the futures account that I'm hoping it can pass it. And I know the certificate doesn't count at this point, which kind of sucks. But it doesn't count at this point, but I'm hoping I can pass it before we finish, and I should be able to because I'm only about one trade away from passing it. I just didn't like today, and I was really hoping to pass it today, but I didn't love anything I saw today until of course like right before we're gonna get on this live, and I was like, oh, here it comes, the continuation on when I was looking at US 30 because the pullback had finished, and I was like, here comes the continuation, but of course it's too late. So anyway, but anyway, and I'll probably try to finish that up maybe on Monday or Tuesday, and then I think that's it. That's kind of where I'm at this month. I'm kind of done, like in my head, as like pretty close to being done. I know we're trading for Strategy Wars, but if it was just me, I would be finished probably for the month and just be waiting till next month to be trading again. But I don't know, how does everyone else's week look? I know Jay, you're on a 4-hour Ken. Did you have a good week, or like are you kind of, where are you at with all your accounts? Because you
I
have a
had
million
a
of them. I don't even know how you keep them all straight.
well, my Apex accounts, I copy trade, so I'm just going off of the lead account. And then I'm still waiting for my credentials for Top Step. But I had a good week. I had a losing day today. And I'll just start back up Monday. Yeah, so
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
complain.
yeah.
Me either. I just realized, so for anybody who had True Forex fund accounts in the US, today they did migration to MatchTrader, and I forgot that I had a True Forex fund account, which is, I don't know why I forget these things. I have pretty good memory, but I guess things that trading things just kind of go out my memory. But I was up a little more than 6% on a phase one with them. And apparently like one of their I guess ways of gratification for those who stuck around, like they lowered the percent pass like down 2%. So instead of 8, it was 6. So I literally logged on and said, congrats, I passed phase one. So not only do I have the account back, but I got a phase two. So
Sweet.
make sure, yeah, for TFF, if people have any of those, go check
Yeah,
and see.
they did. If you're US based, they brought it back for the US people. So if you are US based and you haven't made the switch to futures, or you weren't, like you're just kind of waiting around, they're actually one of the prop firms that has come back now and like figured out whatever they had to figure out in order to be able to allow US people again. So, and it sounds like they're running like some sales maybe to try and like get people back. So you could check them out if you were like still looking for a Forex broker in your US, or Forex prop firm, sorry, in your US base. But yeah, they're, if you were with them already, like Jay said, and you just kind of thought like, oh, well, I just got screwed. You might not have. So go check out and see what your accounts look like or what they're doing with it. But yeah, I would try and see login.
I
We
don't know
can
if
write
they're
about that in
paying
prop
people
firm
back,
too.
which is kind of annoying because I think Barrett asked, because I remember Barrett
Yeah,
had
Bear
like a
was waiting for a
payout,
payout. Yeah.
and I think they're just reimbursing him with like a larger account, but like they're not going to pay him back, which is a little sketch, but we'll see.
They might not have the money yet to do that with everything that they went through. But Who knows? But yeah, we can talk about that too in the prop firm chat room too, if anybody has questions. But I know Bear and if you guys are wondering about them or you have any questions, Bear and Jay, and I maybe Sven, I don't quote me on Sven, but I know Bear and Jay were with them, and I feel like Sven might have also been with them. So you guys could always ask
Jeremy
them.
with them too. I think
Jeremy
Jeremy
too,
had
thank you.
2
Yeah.
accounts as well.
So yeah.
We
it
actually were
was-
talking about that yesterday, me and him. And it was just weird timing when they started messaging about that.
Yeah. Anybody else
So-
want to share about their week, Roxy, or go ahead?
Yep, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that I think it's really it was a really great week for me. I traded a lot more because I'm going into eventually going on vacation here, and so I'm not certain how much I'm gonna be trading during that. But um it was really funny because you guys are talking about, you know, like Ken took a loss today and so forth. And I think that's the awesome thing about trading is that there's so many different ways to do it that, you know, you can have a day where somebody takes a loss, but it's also for somebody else, it can be a really fantastic day. And another person, it's a day they sit out or whatever. For me today, I don't usually trade Fridays, but again, I've been pushing it, knowing going into vacation and whatnot. And it was a very, very good day for me. I caught a lot of the move up.
Stonks.
Yeah. So
Nice, congrats. I was
Thanks.
waiting for that move. Did the one that just happened? Well, I don't, you're in a NASDAQ or an NQ?
yeah, yeah, NQ.
Yeah.
So
I was waiting for that move. Like I was in it yesterday. This is TMI, but I was in it yesterday on a different account that I'm not using for chat wars. And I was like waiting for it. And then I closed it before market rollover. I was like, I should have held it
oh,
through.
and
Anyway,
that bump at the end. Yeah.
and the bump at the end, and I was like, that's my TP area. And I was like, no. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just one of the things. But no, congratulations. And yeah, Fridays, like I think we talked about this actually on one of the, I don't believe you were on that one. I think it was up last week. But Fridays, somebody was saying they were having a really hard time with them. And we were saying that Fridays can be hit or miss. Some
Yeah.
people love them, some people hate them. I like them usually because they do tend to trend really well. If you can find the entry point on, especially with the like indices or futures or stuff like that,
Mhm.
like they'll tend to trend pretty well. If you can find that entry point of where it's starting, like you can really get a nice move sometimes. But you can also really get stuck in some really gross stuff on Fridays. And like it
Yeah.
definitely can
Sometimes
be
it
like,
just moves
yeah.
sideways and that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, it is kind of fun to know that for some people it's like such a, might be like a really bad day or just like a day where they're like, all right, that's enough, see you Monday.
Yeah.
And then for somebody else, it might be like, wow, today was a really great day for me. And it is kind of nice to see. And that comes down to like different styles of trading too. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
what we talked about earlier. Everybody has different styles, and depending on that, like, different styles will complement different types of moves in the market. But
Yep.
congratulations, that's very exciting. Maybe
Thank
you'll
you.
become a Friday lover.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. One of the things I noticed was like beginning and end of month can sometimes have an effect on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, for
And this
sure.
is end of month. So
Yeah,
um,
we're getting there. So that definitely plays a huge impact on it too.
Max says he can see my trades. Yeah, he occasionally sends me a message. This was your trade. And I'm like, yeah, it was. That's really cool. But yeah, no, I've actually it was a really good week, and I've done almost a trade recap every single day this week. So those will come out while I'm gone, but it's good.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited for you. Ashley, I know you're not, you're muted, but you might be able to unmute. But she also says she's looking up and feeling better about this week, looking forward to getting back into trading. So I guess you're still working out your future stuff. But hopefully by Monday you'll figure out how to get into there.
Yeah,
And if
she
you
is. She
have-
was sick, which sucks.
Yeah, I
Hope
know.
she feels better.
Poor thing. She was on all kinds of cold medicine, she said.
Yeah, I remember seeing your trade earlier, Max. That was kind of like the normal ICT entry where you just it wicked the low side, made a fair value gap, and then you targeted that bad boy. So yeah, that was pretty clean. I think that's like the 2022 model that everybody talks about, huh? Yeah, you just take lemon orders off the fair value gap. Nice. Yeah, if anybody else has any questions, probably be
Yeah,
looking to
that's it.
wrap this up
He said he
very
just takes
soon.
limit orders. That's what he said, just for those who are
Yeah.
listening back to this. Yeah, he said, yes, higher time frame bias was clean and go for it. Yes, very good. Yeah, the higher time frame bias was definitely like there for that, so.
That's where I will say that's
I was just waiting for that
I do
pullback.
like
And it came a little too late for me, but anyway.
I do like that
Pullback.
ICT kind of logic of you just grab liquidity, look for like a huge imbalance, and then you just
Mhm.
take that. I mean, it's just easy money.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, you'll lose some, but
It's got a pretty good strike rate with it.
yeah.
I mean, that's what I incorporated in my trading was the liquidity, and it made a big difference.
It's just having the patience to wait for the liquidity to be grabbed.
Mhm.
A lot of people will not be able to have that patience, but if you do have that, it will reward you.
Patience
Any,
pays.
yes, patience pays. Any other questions or any other comments before we kind of start wrapping up our live here? Feel free to comment on whatever or ask whatever you guys. I know this is a smaller live for sure, but yeah, this kind of feel free. It's almost like one-to-ones for you guys to just be able to talk to us or share whatever. If not, then we're probably like I'll give you a minute or so to type them if you have them, or if you want to be unmuted, let us know. But if not, then we're probably gonna wrap things up, and this will be the last live we have for Strategy Wars people specifically. Just because the last one, there's no like random twist or anything like that, like what we've done before, because
Yeah.
the twists have been taken out of the finals. And the board game winner is gonna be Jay's already been doing daily videos for that, so when the winners are announced and the final tallies come in, Jay will just do like a video the way he's been doing in Battlefield. We're not going to do like a live because we don't need to spin a wheel or anything like that, but there'll still be a video
there'll
that'll announce
technically
everything.
be 4 sets of winners. There'll be the Strategy War champion team if you're eligible, if you score at least 1 point, whoever wins out of Happy Trail and 3-line strike. The Concept War team, whether it's Price Action or SMC. The game board team, whatever that might be, because who the hell knows at this point? That's just going crazy. And then the last one, which I'm actually going to be giving the Google form out later today in a couple hours after the recap. We always do this every single season, so a lot of y'all know this, but this time it'll just be the one person, so the closest person to guessing how much figurative money was made during Strategy Wars will also win a prize as well. I think last time we had like 4 or 5 people literally dead on. This time we're only going to choose the one closest person. So even if you might not have won Strategy, Concept Wars, or Game Board, you still have a luck of the draw chance in guessing how much figurative money was made for Strategy Wars.
Max is he's calculating everything. I know somebody like there were what like 5 people or something last season that actually went through and calculated everything. So you guys are funny to like I can't even imagine trying to sit there and do all that like manually, but you deserve the prize if you do it. All right.
I think that is going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming out. And cool.
Poor. That's not fair. Alex isn't here to defend himself, but yes, it's Max. Because I'm not crazy like that guy from Grace. I know you're talking about Alex and we love Alex here, so I'm sure he would laugh at that. But yes, he did go through and do it all. I swear he did not get any like live streamer treatment where we told him the total last season. Like he totally just did it on his own. So
yeah, he
Alex
was
is
one of
fun.
the people.
He
But
was,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
we'll be
Well, thank
ending it
you.
here, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for you guys joining. And it's always nice sometimes when we have these like smaller little groups. I always enjoy them because I feel like we get to like really talk with you guys more. But thank you everybody for joining and for participating in Strategy Wars this season. We'll be wrapping it up Tuesday, so winners will be announced. So if you are in one of the final groups, make sure you're still submitting your trades even into next week. And the board game is still technically running. Nobody's won it yet. They're getting close, but nobody's won it yet. So you guys can still keep an eye out for that because even if you're not a team in the finals right now, you still have a chance to win a prize with the board game. So keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, have a good weekend, everybody. Get some well-deserved rest. I hope everybody does something fun. And we'll see you guys Monday. Just so FYI, I don't know if I talked about this last week or not. I might have still alerted it, but we will be releasing some information next week just about like May and like what activities we're doing in May. And May is our mindset May. That's like what we're gonna do, a lot of mindset stuff. And we really kind of wanted to go into Mindset May like right after Strategy Wars this year, just because I know what Strategy Wars it can bring up. Sometimes like, even though the purpose of Strategy Wars is not to overtrade, it sometimes can bring stuff up like that, or like the temptation to kind of like over risk, over trade, you know, make like money, like having to feel like you have to make money or something like that, or profits. And we really wanted to kind of follow up Strategy Wars with Mindset May, and we'll kind of hit on some of the topics that people have stated that they struggle with in the regular trading, but also sometimes even more so during Strategy Wars. So if you guys are interested in that, keep an eye out for some information coming out next week about Mindset May. We'll be having lives every week during May for that. We'll also be bringing back like the daily journals that you'll be able to submit in the Mindset chat, and just kind of stuff like along that, like more mindset focused stuff during May. So just so you guys, those of you who have expressed interest in it, and I have had a few people send me some messages just kind of like asking for a little more like help in that area. So we definitely hear you, and we are happy to bring back Mindset May. So yeah, Mindset May is fun. I like it too. I feel like it's a little different vibe, and it's like kind of fun to change it up a little bit. So and Roxy and Ian will be hosting it in there as usual. And you'll also see some of the staff coming in now to help present some of the topics that we'll be covering during the lives. But if you guys have anything like that you are struggling with that maybe we're not going to have on there, feel free to send us a message, and we can always try and like put it into one of the lives. So anybody in staff, you could always message and let us know. Okay, I think that's it. Anybody else have anything they need to say? Otherwise, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Have a good weekend. Luck to people in the
sounds good.
finals.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you, Roxy, Ken, for joining, and everybody else for popping in. We appreciate it.
Take care,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, bye, everybody.